Hey all, and today we're making the best smart home temperature sensor for me. So let's cue the intro and let's start with the video. Welcome back. As I said, today we're going to design the best smart home temperature sensor for me. And I'm going to take you guys into the entire process of designing it, building it, and of course, I'm going to share all the files with you guys so you can do it yourself. So let's start and talk about the problem and what I'm trying to solve. So I started with using one of the Zigbee temperature sensors, and I actually have a few of them over the years from different companies, and I had a few problems with them. First of all, sometimes they randomly disconnect from the smart home, and you have to go through the entire process of binding them again and connecting them back to the smart home, and sometimes you even have to reconnect them to the automation or to the dashboard that you're using, which is very annoying. And the other thing is a complete inconsistency with battery life. Some of them I'll have to change battery once every 6 months, and some of them I have to change 3 batteries in 1 week. And very quickly I discovered not only I hate them, I hate changing batteries, but I also forget doing it. After that, I discovered another type of temperature sensor that operates on Bluetooth, and that happened when Home Assistant added Bluetooth support. And those sensors were much better, much more consistent, stayed connected to Home Assistant. And the main thing is the battery lasted 3 to 6 months each, but eventually they start failing, and again, I lost it and stopped following everything. So today I want to fix it with a plugged-in sensor. But whoa, before you guys going down in the comment and start yelling at me that I'm ruining it and you prefer battery operated temperature sensor, that's what I said in the beginning in the title of the video. This is the best or the greatest temperature sensor, but for me, for my use case. And I'm pretty sure other people are going to have the same problem I have. So let's put some parameters I want to stay within while designing this product. First thing, it has to be plugged in. I want to plug it in, I want to forget about it, I don't want to touch it ever again. The second thing, I want it to be operated with Wi-Fi, so it will always stay connected to the smart home. Now the third thing, and that's kind of an outcome from designing and building something yourself, I want to be able to control how many times or how often this temperature sensor actually reports for Home Assistant. For example, if I'm going to put this temperature sensor in my living room, I probably don't need to see a temperature report every half a second or every second or so. I can go with 30 seconds intervals or even 60 seconds intervals, and that will be good enough for me. But this sensor is also going to sit in my 3D printer Enclosure, and there I would like to see much higher rates of temperature reports, and I want to log that data, and I can use it if something goes wrong to see what's going on in the printer and in the temperature around the enclosure. And the last parameter I want to talk about is that I want to make it as cheap as I can. One of these Zigbee sensor or this Bluetooth sensor goes for about $12 or $13, and I want this to be as cheap as those things are. But I'm not producing them in the thousands, and I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more expensive, and I'm okay with that. So my price range, it needs to be up to $20. If I can make it less than $20, it will make sense for me to manufacture multiple of them and then put them all around my house. So now let's talk about the components and why we choose them. After a quick search online, I found this temperature sensor called SHT, and I have to say that with the general parameters it provides, it seems perfect to me and it's not expensive. Now the SHT sensor has different variants 40, 41, 33, and 45. So let's take a look at the different variants and see what they give us. So the cheaper one and the lower tier version of that sensor, the SHT40, it gives us a temperature value of plus minus 0.2 degrees Celsius, which is very accurate, while the most expensive variant of this sensor, the SHT45, gives us the same value with the tolerances of plus minus 0.1. So it's much more accurate. Now let's take a look at the relative humidity values. Now the relative humidity values of those said sensors, the SHT40 is plus minus 1.8, and the SHT45 is about plus minus 1. Now we can see that the SHT45 is much more accurate in the relative humidity percentage, but let's also talk about the price. The SHD40 costs about $1.8 per sensor, while the SHD45 costs about $5.50 per sensor, and I'm going to put the correct prices if I'm wrong on the screen, and that's about a 3-time increase. Now, after considering the price, do I really need to see the change of the relative humidity with the accuracy of plus minus 1%? Or maybe 1.8% is enough for me. And to be honest, saving that money and having plus minus 1.8% won't really change my day. And to be honest, I don't even really look at the humidity. So looking back at the temperature values, the change between 0.1 and 0.2, it's much more accurate than all the other Zigbee or Bluetooth sensors I had already. So I think to keep everything as cheap as I can, I'm going to go and choose the SHD40. And that will give us a saving of about 1/3 of the price compared to the SHD45. So let's move on. Now let's take a look at the circuitry and all the components we need. The main sensor we're going to use is going to be the STH temperature sensor, and that sensor has 4 pads. Now these 4 pads are going to connect to the ESP32, that's going to be our microcontroller. Now 2 of these pads are going to connect to the ESP32 with I2C. We're going to have 2 lines. One of them is going to be our data line, and one of them is going to be our clock line. Now the 2 other pads are going to connect. One is going to be connected to ground, and the other one is going to be connected to VCC. Now we have a few more components we need. One of them is going to be a resistor, on 2 resistors on those data lines, and they're going to be a 10 kilo ohm resistors. And we're also going to need a capacitor. It's going to be connected in here like that, and that's going to be 100 nanofarad capacitor. So this entire circuit is very simple and only need about 5 components. First is the ESP. Second is the STH40 temperature sensor. Third is going to be the 10 kilo ohm resistors, and we'll need 2 of them. And the last component is going to be the 100 nanofarad capacitor. And that's it. So let's take the circuit, move it to the computer, and let's design a PCB.
Okay, so moving the same drawing we did by hand to the computer, it looks the same. This is the microcontroller and this is the temperature sensor. Now all we have to do is transfer this drawing into the actual PCB design. Now this PCB could have been a little bit smaller, but I wanted to have some distance away from between the actual temperature sensor and the ESP, because the ESP is going to emit some heat and that will definitely going to affect our reading. Now, looking at the PCB in a 3-dimensional space, that's the ESP and the microcontroller, and that's how the circuitry for our temperature sensor going to look like. And that's basically it. All we have to do is export this file as a grabber and talk about today's supporter, PCBway. So full disclosure, PCBway actually sent us the PCBs for today's video for free, and support from companies like that, it was allow us to do what we do today and sit here and talking to you guys. So what's PCBway? PCBway is an all-in-one manufacturer solution. If you need to manufacture PCBs or do even CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal, injection molding, PCBway, it's an all-in-one place. You can go and get immediate quotes and order whatever you need. It's pretty cool. So I've been using PCBway for years now for PCB manufacturing, and getting a price from them or quote for them is really easy. All you have to do is just upload your grabber file, just one click, upload the grabber file, and immediately you're going to get a quote. You have a lot of other options, depends on what you're trying to manufacture, how many layers and what type of PCBs. But yeah, you choose the quantity and whatever you want here. I always choose black solder mask because I like my PCB in black. You can also add a stencil in here, and you guys gonna see in this video of me using this stencil. And very quickly you're gonna have a quote. You can change your shipping supplier, and in a few days in the mail you're gonna get a package with your PCB custom made. So again, thank you PCBway for supporting this episode. Back to the video.
So we got the PCBs here, and again, thank you PCBway. So let's take a look at the packaging. PCBway always do a really great job with packaging my PCBs. I never had a problem with PCBs coming broken, so we gotta love that. So the PCBs look great and they are ready to assemble. And another thing that we ordered from PCBway, and it was here but we already used it for testing, is a stencil. So a stencil is a very accurate laser cut piece of stainless steel that allow us to precisely put the solder paste on the PCB. So all we have to do now is assemble the PCBs. So cue the montage.
Heat up the iron, watch it glow. Connecting dreams with steady hands. Building worlds from circuit plans. PCB's a canvas, green and white. Traces weaving like rivers collide. LED shining in vibrant hue. RGB dancing just for you. Wire by wire, the future's bright. Capacitors charge under the light. Resistors holding the chaos in line. Microcontrollers, the brain's design. A spool of wire, a steady grip. Tiny components never slip. The hum of creation fills the air. A masterpiece crafted with care. Flashing lights that tell a tale. Electric symphony will never fail. From every pin, a signal streams. Living in a world of tech dreams. Wire by wire, the future's bright. Capacitors charge under the light. Resistors holding the chaos in line. Microcontrollers.
So now after we're done with soldering these two PCBs, all we have to do is install the software, and I'm not going to go into the software too much this video, otherwise this video is going to be 2 hour long, and I'm going to have all the links in the description below if you guys need a step-by-step guide. But now when the software is installed, basically when you connect it to power, the ESP will emit a hotspot. You just connect to the hotspot, put your Wi-Fi credential, and automatically it will pop in Home Assistant.
For Tom here, I actually do want to show you how it looks in Home Assistant. The code has about 360 something lines, so if you guys want to check that out, it's going to be linked in the description below. But after you connect the sensor into your Wi-Fi, it should just pop like that in Home Assistant. You can add it. And then this is how the page is going to look like. So we have a few different features here that are really cool. Now, first thing I want to show you guys is this button I designed here that says use Fahrenheit. So the default state of the sensor is to use Celsius, but if you want to use Fahrenheit, I know you can change it in Home Assistant, but I just made it like that so it'll be easier for me. All I have to do is just press this button. It stops the two Celsius entities and change them into the Fahrenheit, and now it reports to Fahrenheit. So we have temperature, we have humidity in here, and we're doing some calculation. We can get the dew point and comfort level if it's dry outside or wet. And what's really cool about here, I added some calibration profiles. So I'm going to show, in the documentation, I'm going to release what's the correct calibration that I had to do with an actual ISO-calibrated temperature sensor. But if you guys see that you need to change the temperature value or the offset or the humidity offset, all you have to do is just move the slider for humidity and move it for the temperature. It will change it live on the go and actually save it, and it will stay saved saved. So next time when you disconnect the connector, or if it loses power for some reason and it reconnects, it's going to save those values. So that's really quick about the software and how it looks like. I worked really hard at it, so I'm kind of proud of this code. But yeah, back to the video.
Now, the last portion of this video, and I'm not going to get into it too much, is the mechanical design. To keep it cheap, you guys, if you watch any one of my other videos, you know I love hardware and I love thread inserts and screws. But to keep it as cheap as we can, I made a design that is snap in place and going to friction fit and hold your PCB inside. That way we're going to save as much as money as we can to get into that $20 price point. In this enclosure, we also have 4 magnets we put in the base. So the way that we do it is we are pausing the print in the middle, we are embedding the magnets inside of the print, and then resuming the print, and the printer prints on top of it. So now when we have the actual enclosure, all we have to do is put the PCB inside, press it in place, it will be sitting there, friction fit. And then we are taking the top part of the enclosure, and the front has a dot here, and that dot needs to be aligned with the USB-C, and you close it and you hear a snappy snap in place. I hope you guys could hear that, but now the entire enclosure is closed and ready to be put anywhere you want in the house. For conclusion, we created this very small plug-in temperature sensor that connects automatically to Home Assistant. We also made an enclosure for it with magnets that you can magnet it to anywhere you want and add it behind furniture or below tables or anywhere you want. Now, if you can't use the magnets, you can add a few drops of hot glue or even double-sided tape and again stick it anywhere you want. If you'd like to give this sensor a try, you can build it yourself, and all the information in a step-by-step guide is going to be in the description below, and all the code and everything going to be open source for you guys, of course, to try it or even make your own version. And if you guys would like to support our channel and keep these videos going, I will also sell them on my website, assembled, fully assembled, and ready to go with the enclosure like that. And because I'm buying them in bulk, it's going to be much cheaper than you doing it yourself if you like to go that route. And when you guys buy them directly for me, of course, you support the channel and you support me continue designing and developing sensors and other stuff in our channel. So hope you guys like this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. That helps us a lot. Thank you, PCBway, and we'll see you on the next video.